We'll have an update this morning to a story we first brought you last month. An American soldier desperately trying to rescue an Afghan translator. He made it a personal mission to bring the translator to the United States. Last night, the Afghan and his family arrived in America. Jan Crawford was there for a story you'll see only on CBS This Morning. Jan, good morning.
Well, good morning, Charlie. Good morning, Nora. This is a story about a soldier's determination to uphold a promise. I mean, his fight through years of roadblocks and bureaucratic red tape, all to save the Afghan translator he says saved his life during a battle and became like a brother to him. And last night, the soldier's first words to the interpreter were familiar. It was a common greeting in Arabic to put him at ease in his new home.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
The last time they saw each other, Matt Zeller and Janice Shinwari were in Afghanistan, fighting side by side against the Taliban.
I got my last member of my unit home. I can breathe a sigh of relief for the first time in 5 years. I got my buddy home.
They reunited late last night. Shinwari flew into Washington's Reagan National Airport, the last leg on a 36-hour journey out of Afghanistan.
I'm feeling very happy because finally we made it.
Yep.
Did you ever think this was not going to happen? Did you ever give up hope?
I had a brother here to fight for me, and I was thinking that I can make it.
For Zeller, it was a fight for Shinwari's life.
In 2009, my name was added in the Taliban kill list.
He became a marked man after the two were caught in a Taliban ambush in eastern Afghanistan.
We saw their first truck was blown up by IED, and then I saw Zeller that he was away from the other unit in the kill zone and shooting against the Taliban.
Zeller says that's when Shinwari shot and killed two insurgents sneaking up behind him.
I mean, he saved my life.
Yeah, and you saved my life.
Well, we're even.
Zeller was at the airport hours before Shinwari's flight landed, anxiously scanning the crowds of arriving passengers.
Yeah, I can see him right there. He's walking.
Shinwari, his wife, and two young children were among the last off the plane. It was Zeller who helped make it happen, a promise to a man he says became like a brother to him all those years ago on the front lines.
What he promised to me, he did it.
And what did he promise?
He promised me that when he was leaving, and he told me that one day he will bring me home, and the United States is my home.
By all accounts, Afghans who serve along U.S. forces, those who, like Shinwari, would kill insurgents to save Americans, are now under dire threat from Taliban retribution.
When I was in Afghanistan, each minute of my life, I thought that I would get killed.
After years of waiting, he and his family got visas under a special program for Afghans and Iraqis who fought alongside U.S. forces. But then, just 2 weeks later, crushing news. The State Department revoked the visas. Those involved in the case believe the Taliban called in a bogus anonymous tip saying Shinwari was a threat. After 7 years as an interpreter for U.S. forces, there was no safe haven. Zeller refused to accept it. It was clear in our interview last month he was tormented by what might happen if Shinwari stayed.
He'll die. No question about it. They'll torture him in front of his family. These people used to send us the body parts of interpreters that they captured as warning messages to our interpreters to quit now.
And you can see that being Janice's fate.
I can't bear to even think about that.
After a massive effort lobbying members of Congress to force the State Department to reconsider, the family's visas were reissued. But Shinwari's case is an exception.
There are thousands of people who are in a similar situation that we
thousands of people.
We've been able to get out fewer than 10% of the people that we could have. The vast majority of these people, if they wanted to harm Americans, had all sorts of chances.
Tens of thousands of visas were allocated for Iraqis and Afghans who risked their lives for the U.S. military. But just a fraction of those visas have been issued, leaving many in harm's way.
The Taliban will kill them. They call them traitor of Islam. They call them American spies.
Shinwari and his family no longer have to fear the Taliban. For that, they had to leave a lot behind. Just 48 hours ago, Shinwari was praying at his father's grave, saying his goodbyes. Now they are in America, ready to start a new life, an American soldier by their side.
It's your country now. Welcome home.
Thank you.
Now, Shinwari and his family spent last night in a hotel in Virginia. They're going to move tomorrow into an apartment that Zeller and a charity helped furnish, complete with clothes and toys for the children. And he told me last night that one of the reasons, Charlie and Nora, that he's so happy to be in the United States is that his children can go to kindergarten, to school. He said in Afghanistan, the children learn to carry guns, but in America, they carry pencils and paper.
Wow, what a great story, Jan. Incredible.
Yeah, you would hope that anybody in Washington watching this would try to eliminate all the bureaucracy that might restrict or limit the number of people.
Says a lot about Captain Zeller's character and those who serve in our American military.
And his persistence and endurance.
Keeping a promise, keeping a promise.